Hey everybody, my name is Eric.
My name is Tacondra, and welcome to Building with the Browns.
We are super excited to bring you fresh revelation and perspectives based on our life experiences.
Yes, we are all about laying foundational truths regarding marriage, love, faith, family, finances, and more that are built to last.
We hope you enjoy Building with the Browns. Hey you.
You ain't gonna sing a song today? I was waiting.
I was about to make up one, but I don't know no songs that's really got the word frustrated in it.
Okay. I don't either.
I'm so frustrated. I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
Well. Hey everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Building with the Browns. As you can see, he kind of gave you an idea as to what we're going to be talking about. And I honestly feel like this is something that's a lot of people are feeling.
If you are a human being, you have been,
right,
you are, or maybe you're not, but frustration.
Are you frustrated?
Frustrated.
Built up frustrations, frustrated about a circumstance, frustrated about what?
Yeah.
So we kind of want to talk about, the feeling of frustration and how to face those frustrations and reveal or even understand what the frustration is pointing to within you. Because I always think, or I believe that frustrations or pressure that we feel, it always points to something. Pressure points to something that needs to be changed, right, in your life. If you're feeling a pressure on you about something or the pressure outside of you is being put on you, pressure points to something that needs to be changed or transformed in your life. And so many times we miss the opportunity for God to reveal things and help us heal, whether it's certain habits, whether it's, your mindset, anything. We miss the opportunity because we fail to realize what that pressure or what that frustration is trying to change in us. And
a lot of times it's unresolved problems. And it's like our unfulfilled needs that we get frustrated, right?
Yeah, that's a good one. So that's definitely the first thing. Let's talk about that.
Right.
So frustration can point to an unfulfilled need within you. I'm frustrated because my love tank is empty. I'm frustrated because I don't have food, water. Come on.
The essentials. Come on.
The essentials. I'm frustrated because I'm lacking relationships or I have relationships that aren't meeting certain needs in my life, in my soul, in my heart. That's a huge one. Yeah.
And let's just keep it a buck. We're halfway through this year, and some of us had some lofty expectations for 2022, and you ain't really moved the needle.
Some lofty expectations?
Sure. Some things that you...
Wait, because I think you scooting ahead. Let's talk about these needs.
Okay.
Expectations, I believe, is another reason why we're frustrated. But let's talk about needs.
Okay, let's stay with the needs then.
Let's stick with the needs. Yeah. Holy Spirit moving too fast. Let's stick with the needs. We'll go back to expectations because that is another key point. But let's stick with the needs. So the needs of, like security.
Yeah.
Hello. My finances.
Yeah, I was going to say finances. And if y'all know us and y'all don't listen to our podcast, when your money funny,
your feelings get funny. Your feelings might be funny because your money funny.
Yes.
You frustrated.
You're frustrated.
Disillusioned and hard to get along with. But that's the thing, when those needs go unmet or there's a broken need, frustration is always going to point to it.
Right.
But if you're not wise or mature enough to take time to really understand what that frustration is pointing to, you just going to remain frustrated.
Or you just going to tap out.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us, I know for myself, like when you're talking about needs, it's like, okay, what do I really need?
Yeah.
Now it's separation of needs versus wants. We want a lot of things to go our way, but we don't necessarily need them to go that way. Or we don't necessarily have what we want.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That frustration of not getting what you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so let's identify what our needs are versus what we want. Because I want a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? I want a man cave that's got AC and a bartender that serve me virgin drinks. Y'all thought I was gonna say liquor. Okay, it's gotta have a little bit in it.
Wine.
A little wine. Okay.
Whatever.
Anyway.
But no,
But yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's like those things that I want, but do I necessarily need them?
Yeah.
You know, and so I think our needs are not always met because we miscategorize them. Especially when it comes to God, because a lot of times we get frustrated with ourselves, but really we frustrated at God because we prayed for something
and we didn't get what we wanted,
and we didn't get it when we wanted
it. Yeah,
that's where the frustration comes in, because you know the Bible says, you know, they that wait on the Lord. Who is they? Because I'm having a hard time here. Jesus, help me. I know you see your boy down here struggling.
Yeah,
you know, but in His time, in His will, he operates outside of time, and sometimes it's hard for us to conceive that because we're stuck in time. We're stuck
in what's in front of us, what we see. So that's another thing with frustration. You're walking by sight and not by faith.
Right.
And that'll leave you frustrated, especially when it's something that you want, you've been praying for, you know, continuously, and it just doesn't seem to be unfolding or happening in your life. When you're putting a demand on God for something, or it's a promise that He's made and it just hasn't come to pass, you get frustrated because now it's out of your control. I mean, you can only do so much, but it's God who has to perform His word. He has to perform what He's promised, and you have to just believe that He is fully able to perform it.
And
He is. Come on, that's a good reminder. But it's still it's out of my control, and I'm demanding this. I want this. I want it now. We like little babies. You know, I want what I want, and I want it now.
Right. Like Wentworth. Is it J.G. Wentworth? Yeah.
Oh, is
877 cash now. I need my cash now. Right.
Don't be acting like a little. But that's straight up. That's paints the picture of immaturity and how we can act like children.
Yeah.
Sometimes when it comes to God and demanding certain things and wanting certain things, and when He like, no, not yet. Grow up a little bit.
Yeah.
And we frustrated because we gotta mature, so that when we get the thing that we wanted, we don't. I was finna say flounder it. I don't know. I must be hungry. I'm thinking about fish.
You don't flounder it, like you don't fumble it, or you don't mishandle it.
Mishandle it.
You know, the prime example of this that just made me think about when you talk about being a child and how, you know, we can want something. I just remember as a child wanting to be an adult, wanting to be a grown folk, wanting to be able to sit at the grown folk table, right? Little did I know, being a grown folk came with bills, came responsibility, came kids, came jobs, came accountability. Like, ain't nobody tell me all of that. And so what I'm getting at is that thing that you always think you want, when you get it, don't complain about it.
That same level of frustration you had waiting on it,
now you got it.
Oh, you better have that same level of gratitude and gratefulness when you get it.
Absolutely.
Because that's the thing about instant gratification. Like, we'll want something so bad, and in the moment we get it, it's like it's short-lived.
Yeah.
You got to keep that level of gratefulness. And gratitude when you receive that thing, and it better stretch out. That gratitude better stretch out as long as your frustration did while you were waiting. I'm talking to myself. Lord, when I receive that which I prayed for, hello somebody, give me the grace to remain grateful and have an attitude of gratitude for the length of time that I had to wait sometimes in frustration for that thing that I prayed for.
Yeah, because it's coming anyway.
It's coming.
If it's for you and God has it in His will for you to have it, it's coming anyway.
Yeah. You just got to believe it.
You just got to believe it, and then, like you said, mature.
That's it.
Right? And so, moving from needs, now we want to talk about maybe expectations.
We can move on to expectations. I did want to say this. How do you know if you're wrestling with frustration because of something you're needing that's missing? So I would ask myself, like, what need do I have that I'm not getting? And am I trying to fulfill this need on my own? Am I expecting this to be fulfilled by others? You know, that's a great question to kind of ask. Okay, am I frustrated because I need something and I'm not getting it? And present that to God. Like, even in that, ask God to help you meet the needs of others. Because sometimes in your serving, right, you're able to allow God to fill you up in areas where there's a void or something that's missing. If you listen to the last podcast, I talked about serving out of your need. You need something, right? just like the prophet Elijah, when he came to the widow at Zarephath. I hope I'm saying that right.
Sound good. Yeah. No, that's it.
And she had that, oil and that flour, and he wanted a cake, and she was like, this all I got.
Right.
But she served out of her need of needing more food for her and her son, and gave what the prophet asked of her, and God in return filled her need.
Yeah.
So that's a great thing to do. Consider that. Serve out of your need and help someone else. And in that, while you're doing that, trust that God knows what your need is, and he's able to fulfill them.
Absolutely.
So you said we have either unmet expectations, or I'm going to say we have unhealthy expectations.
Yeah. Let's tackle the unhealthy ones.
Well, okay.
An unhealthy expectation is not a real expectation, right? It's one that you couldn't even meet yourself, right?
Yes.
And that's unhealthy.
Very much so.
I like to say we live in a fantasy world where we got so much imagery with movies and songs and these celebrities and all of these different things, and a lot of our expectations are what we see on the surface on somebody else's life, and we're like, well, I expect somebody in my life to treat me like they're treating you in your life, but you don't know how they doing, what they doing when you don't see them. And so a lot of this stuff is shiny on the outside, but it's molded on the inside.
Counterfeit.
It's counterfeit.
It's manufactured.
Absolutely. That's why I love that there's a guy who says the grass is not greener on the other side.
It's green where you water it.
It's green where you water it.
Yeah.
Right? And then on the other side, they probably got turf.
Yep.
I say that all the time. I say it's probably turf on the other side. It ain't even real grass.
We'll put that thing up. We'll pick it up, pull at it, put it up to the light.
Right.
Yeah, that's how you determine if it's
for real
counterfeit.
Yeah, and
we talking about the word.
That unhealthy thing, man. That's just it's not healthy for you.
Yeah.
And it's not healthy for those that are around you, because then you force them to believe that they're coming up short in an area that they weren't never meant to even fulfill. Your
expectation wasn't clearly communicated.
Right.
It's like being a husband and a wife, right? Like, okay, I'm about to tell myself.
Come on.
But don't do that. But there were plenty of times, and it still happens, just being honest, where I expect my husband to know certain things. I expect him to read my mind and to know what I want.
Right.
And to know how to do certain things when they, need to be done. I just naturally, maybe that's just because I've been with him for so long.
Yeah.
But it's not an excuse for me not to express clearly what my expectations are, because at the end, when he doesn't measure up to the expectation, I'm frustrated. He looking confused, like, well, I tried, but what did I do? What did I do wrong? Why didn't you tell me? And I'm like, because you're supposed to know. You just automatically you supposed to know.
Right. And look, fellas, I've been looking online, especially Amazon, to try to find that newest mind reader. Okay. I figure like when it come out, we gonna be the ones to get that thing. For real. So we ain't even gonna have to turn it on. But it's
Amazon Prime. But no, that's really what happens when you have unhealthy expectations.
Right.
Unhealthy expectations or expectations you aren't clearly communicating to those around you or those that you expect to meet those needs. So
so the flip side of that is the unmet expectations, and to me I feel like those are expectations that probably were communicated. Right, you said it out, you said it, say, hey, I expect this from you, or I'm looking for this from you, or you've said it to yourself, I'm looking to go to the gym, I'm going to lose 10 pounds, whatever the case may be. And then when that thing that you communicated to yourself or to someone else, when they come up short, now that frustration sets in, because it's like, oh, well, I told you.
I think also you have to, because communication is a two-way thing, right? There's a receiver and there's a transmitter. So when it comes to setting expectations, even when making them clear, the other person has to agree with those expectations.
Absolutely.
And if there's no agreement, then that leaves room for misunderstanding and frustration.
Right.
Like, I'm frustrated. Well, did that person even agree to meet your expectations? I don't care how clearly you communicated it.
You're right.
Did they agree with it? Did they agree that it was reasonable? Did they say, you know what, I can actually put a foot forward in meeting those expectations?
Right. Yeah.
So I think that's something that we all need to think about when it comes to unmet expectations. It's okay. True. Well, where did I go wrong? Reevaluate the situation. Did I even ask you if you were able to meet that expectation. Sometimes you got to lower your expectations. I'm a person, I got high expectations of people and myself. And I know I fall short. I fall short all the time, my expectations of myself. And so I can't hold people to a standard that I myself don't even meet up to.
Yeah. The first word that just popped in my head about, I may be even jumping ahead, but grace. Because God expects us to live a life that's holy and acceptable to him, right? But we fall short all the time, and he knows, but he extends grace. And so a lot of our frustration is in areas where we haven't even extended the grace to that person to, one, get to a place to where they meet your expectation, right? Or even that grace to basically give to yourself. Like, you're not going to get it the first time. I mean, the first time you got on a bicycle, you ain't speed off and win the Tour de France.
I feel.
We fail multiple times, but we learn how to what? We learn how to get up. And we learn how to fight through the frustration of not knowing how to do something until we got to the point where we knew how to do it. Right. And so same thing God does with us. He's giving us an extended grace, like over and over and over and over. And he's like, okay, I know you're going to fall. I know you're going to bump your head. And I told you, you're going to do it anyway. But I'm going to extend you this grace. You don't deserve it. You ain't earned it, but I'm giving it to you. Right. And so as human beings and human doings, what we have to do is extend grace. And that's sometimes the hardest thing to do because we don't have what? Patience.
Or we just expect other people to be perfect. And while we're broken.
All right. So we're going to take a short break.
And we'll be back with some more pointers on frustration right after this. So you guys, we have been getting tons of questions about how you can start your own podcast. You know, whether you're looking for a new marketing channel, you have a message on your heart that you want to share with the world, or if you just think it might be fun to have your own talk show. Podcasting is an easy, inexpensive way and a fun way to expand your reach online. Now, we personally use Buzzsprout, and Buzzsprout is hands down the easiest and best way to launch, promote, and track your podcast. You know, your online podcast will be listed in all the major directories like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more within minutes of finishing your recording. It's not hard at all, you guys. And Team Buzzsprout is passionate about helping you succeed. So go ahead and join us. Follow the link in the show notes and let Buzzsprout know we sent you. Get you a $20 Amazon gift card as well if you sign up for a paid plan. All you have to do, you guys, once you sign up with Buzzsprout, start with some gear that you already have in a nice quiet space. Buzzsprout also has tons of guides to help you find the right equipment at the right price. It isn't hard, like I said, when you have the right partners, and Team Buzzsprout is passionate about helping you succeed. Again, go ahead and click the link in the show notes for you to get started with your own personal podcast with Buzzsprout.
We back. Welcome back.
So let's finish
with the Browns.
Come on now, you just like hearing yourself.
Yeah, because I like our title. I want everybody to be walking around somehow building with the Browns. BWTB.
Wait a minute though, but that beat. Let's talk about that beat real quick. That was in the commercial.
Yeah, that was made by yours truly.
Yeah, I gotta give it to him. It was hot, y'all. Come on.
My daughter taught me a little bit.
She got it from you.
She's the master producer, y'all. Okay.
She is, but y'all let us know how y'all like that in the review somewhere.
Don't be harsh. Sheesh. Nah, I'm just kidding.
So back to our conversation about frustration and what are some of the reasons why you may find yourself frustrated and what that frustration is trying to teach you or how it's trying to change you. So our last one was
unmet and unhealthy expectations.
So our next one we're going to talk about are
unhealthy boundaries.
Or a lack of
boundaries.
Right, absolutely. So have you ever lived your life thinking that you just had to please everybody?
Oh, absolutely.
And like you accept what everyone else wants without acknowledging your own personal convictions or needs. It leaves you frustrated when you don't know how to set boundaries for yourself and set boundaries for other people. One thing I like about boundaries is this. Boundaries tell you what belongs to you. And what belongs to somebody else.
Yeah.
When you own a home, they have a boundary line around your property, right? Them people, what them people get, the line people, the map people, whoever them people is.
Engineers, the land,
the county
observers.
They know where your property line begins and where it ends.
Right.
And so you're responsible for what's on you and not for what somebody else belongs to somebody else.
Right.
I found myself frustrated personally from pleasing people to the point of where I've disregarded my own boundaries, or I just never said it. So people thought that they could just come and dump on me,
right? Dump
their emotional baggage, whatever it may have been, just dump it on me, and I'm sitting there just taking it, and then I'm mad, like, wait a minute, why am I feeling frustrated? Like, because you don't have boundaries.
Absolutely. I mean, just here's a good picture. Imagine someone driving by your property and just dumping trash in your yard. Like, that would make me upset.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing with people that come in your life. Imagine, they're dumping their trash on you, not because they don't necessarily respect you. They don't know how far they can go, so they just throw it all at you. You know what I mean?
Well, they don't, because you haven't set the boundary or the expectation. Like, hey, this is where this is the farthest I can go with that.
Right.
Like, don't bring that over here. Keep that over there. Figure out another avenue, whatever you got to do. I think sometimes we underestimate how healthy boundaries play a part in our lives as far as having a healthy life.
Yeah.
Especially emotionally. For me, that's the big one. Like, emotionally, allowing people to just dump on you. Not saying that you can't be there for your friends, your loved ones, and things of that nature. But you, as a human being, especially feelers, like if you're sensitive and you just pick up on people's feelings and you take on things naturally, that's a gift that you have. You have to learn how to set boundaries. You have to learn how to set boundaries with people, and you have to learn how to set boundaries with yourself. So I would start with myself first and say, hey,
what am I going to accept and what am I not going to accept?
Absolutely.
And you just have to draw that line in the sand and be firm on it, and stand on it. Don't be on the fence about your own boundaries. I think for me, as a non-confrontational person with my personality, a lot of things I don't address that I know affects me. Like you made that point, like, we don't speak on certain things that we probably should, or we don't, because a lot of us just we don't know how to handle it, or we don't know how our reaction is going to affect the relationship with that said person or whatever in that environment. And so a lot of times we just separate ourselves, or we go away quietly, and then it'll just continue to happen again. And then, like you said, you get frustrated because it's like, oh my God, like, you don't hear my thoughts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or
people don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
Let's keep that in mind. So again, that goes back to clearly communicating. But I do want to say, especially when you're dealing with toxic people, okay, you have to be, sometimes you can walk away.
Yeah.
You can remove yourself from a relationship and be okay without providing an explanation, because an explanation, sometimes you may not even have it, or you may not even want to share it with them. Why I'm removing myself. And that's okay. They don't deserve an explanation. And, and giving an explanation requires energy that you just may not have in that moment.
That's
okay.
It, yeah.
So that's a boundary. That's putting a healthy boundary in place and say, look, I don't have to give you an explanation.
Right.
Or a boundary that I've put in place for myself, So I just wanted to throw that in there. I don't know why, but
yeah, that's good. I got a no drama, no gossip policy. Like, I just don't.
He really
I don't like it. I don't like drama, and I don't really like you talking about other people around me. Especially if I know the other person. Like, don't put me in that position.
Yeah.
Let me find the information out on my own. Like, unless it's a red flag and I'm just completely missing, and you're letting me know, hey, you might want to look out for this. But don't come to me and say, boy, did you hear about Joe over there? He got about 4 wives and 2 girlfriends. I don't need to know all that. Let me find that stuff out on my own. So those are 2 boundaries that I know I set in any environment that I'm in. Like, I don't need that type of energy.
Right. And that's good that you know that.
Yeah.
Like, what they call that? Something. I forget what it's called. You just know what works for you and what doesn't.
Absolutely.
So, there you go, guys. Get some healthy boundaries in place. Use them.
Yeah. So you've listened to all of this and you still frustrated, right?
You still frustrated.
Like,
why?
Yeah. Why?
I got one more reason.
Okay.
You may simply be hurting.
Yep.
And I feel like that's a huge one for a lot of people. You're frustrated because there's a a care within you. There's something in you that's not healed. And God can't heal what you won't reveal.
Come on,
One,
say that again.
He can't heal what you won't reveal. I talk heavily about hurts and how sometimes you got stuff deeply rooted within you that's not uncovered. You got it covered up, and it's a protective mechanism, a defense mechanism to keep yourself from experiencing more pain or frustration, right? But you haven't allowed the Holy Spirit to come in and provide healing in that area.
Right.
And I think a lot of hurt people, not only hurt people, but a lot of hurt people are frustrated because they're still hurting. Yeah.
And it's a lack of acceptance of truth. It's really the truth about ourselves. One of the hardest things for anyone who's frustrated or learning something, or you're at a place where you're just, for a lack of better words, frustrated, it's accepting the truth. The truth. And a lot of times the truth comes in instruction. In wisdom, in counseling, in guidance, in encouragement, in motivation, all of these things that in the midst of your frustration,
in
the midst of your frustration, the last thing you want is information.
Right.
And especially about yourself, and so I go back to the bike riding, right? When we first learned how to ride a bike. Okay, balance. You got to balance yourself. You got to hold the handlebars right. You got to pedal. You have to maintain your speed, right? All of those things. But if I continue to fall and you're steady telling me these things and my results are not changing as fast as I want them to, then you're going to stay in that unhealed and that frustrated place because you're getting the truth, but you're not necessarily accepting the truth. And then once you accept the truth, then you're able to apply the truth. And I think that's the gap between acceptance and application is frustration.
Because you just can't, you haven't got it yet.
Yep.
And that is that was good. That's a huge one because I'm thinking about the obstacles sometimes that we're hit with in life. And how when something continuously seems like it's just knocking you down, like those cycles, right? And there's so many underlying lessons that can be taught to you within the fire, right? We talk about the fire, but how we miss the opportunity to be refined in that process. What is God trying to teach me? I keep getting knocked back down, but I keep trying to get back up.
Right.
If you keep getting knocked back down, one, you ain't got something yet. Something's missing. Something's missing.
Is off.
Right?
Yeah.
Or God is building endurance in you.
Come on.
He's building up that endurance, right? That resistance is that resistance will frustrate you. Like this hurts. This hurts, but what you got to look at, and this is where perspective and having a transformed mind and being able to think from a different perspective helps. It's like, okay, God, in the midst of all this hurting, in the midst of these obstacles and this frustration, God, what are you teaching me?
Right.
How are you refining me into your image?
Come on.
How am I being made more like the Son of God, Jesus Christ? You know how many times he got knocked down? Well, he got one huge knockdown. That was enough. But I'm just saying, like, Jesus learned things through things that he suffered.
Yep.
He learned things through frustration. Like, how do we not expect to live out a life just like, thank you, Lord. I think about everything that we go through. Jesus knows. He cares. He's equated with our feelings. Right. He's equated with that stuff. But here's the thing about Christ. He's equated with our feelings when we're navigating these harsh seasons and the frustration and things of that nature. But he's only obligated to perform his word.
That's it.
So here's another lesson that you can learn when you're frustrated is what's coming out of your mouth.
Come on.
What are you speaking when the frustration, flares its ugly head? What are you speaking? Are you speaking death or are you speaking life?
Right.
Are you learning how to put the word of God in your mouth and in your heart? Are you calling those things that are not as though they are?
Yep.
Like, I believe we miss the fact that all of these things that we go through in life, like, we're not going to live a perfect life where there's just no pain, there's no frustration, there's no, anything, death, whatever. It's God is doing, he's perfecting us. He's maturing us. We want to be mature, strong believers and Christians. We don't want to be weak, and we don't want to succumb to frustration and succumb to defeat and succumb to these negative emotions that aren't meant to rule us or guide us in life. We want to use them as stepping stones, as tools to say, okay, God, you're trying to show me something. You're trying to teach me something. Turn that negative into a positive. Allow God to transform it, turn it into something positive.
That's good.
Because God ain't gonna remove that thing until you get it. He's not gonna remove that obstacle.
Like a thorn in your side.
For real. But that's the thing. Is God working something in you and through you that you just can't see?
Right.
In that frustration, what is God trying to change?
Yeah, I would dare to say that in the midst of our frustration, God is trying to solidify the gift that he's giving you. Because the things that frustrates us the most, we're gifted to help not only ourselves get unfrustrated, but to help others who may be frustrated in that same thing. So he's maturing you, but he's building you to edify, right? And to be an asset to the body of Christ.
To the unbelievers.
You
know, your life becomes a living testimony. You become the word alive, walking it and living it out. Some people may never pick up a Bible. You may be the only Bible they see. And if you don't learn how to navigate seasons of frustration, if you don't know how to navigate obstacles that continue to show up in your life, and you don't allow God to transform your mind and your thinking and your feelings and your emotions and everything about you, then you miss the opportunity to be, I don't like to say used by God, but to be transformed by God for your good and for the good of others and his glory. All right, you guys. So we hope something that was said today spoke life into your current, circumstance or situation, whatever you may be going through. We just want you to know that we're praying for you, praying with you, and that we love you. So thank you guys for listening to this episode, and we look forward to speaking with you again on the next episode of Building with the Browns.